How everybody's doing today. I want to first start off by thanking everybody who's taking the time out to listen to me. And if I'm 34 years old, if you my age, I'm trying to give you an understanding on maybe how your parenting was when you came up, if you did or didn't understand it. And I'm also want to give a teaching on how to parent, or how to be a more effective parent. If you my age, 9 times out of 10, your parents raised you, they probably at this point, God say the same, they still alive. They probably in their 50s or 60s, right? And so they come from the baby boomer area, born in the 50s, early 60s, and you know, parenting was a whole lot different back then. The world was a whole lot different, and you know, parenting is parenting. But you do have to adjust with society. You do have to adjust with the world in your parenting, right? And like I say, and reason, and not only am I speaking about this for effective parenting, if you are a parent, but I want to also give you an understanding on maybe why some things went wrong in your life or going wrong in your life. And this is not about point fingers at anybody because point fingers is never effective. That's not effective. This is a solution based, solution oriented channel aimed at giving people understanding on things. Because the Bible say in all you're getting, get an understanding. Because once you have an understanding of something, you can better not only not only can you better not only you understand you can better apply it to your life, you can help other people apply it to their life. And just having an understanding is a teaching, it's a lesson. Whether it was bad or good, it's a lesson, right? And so going back to what I just said, you my age, I'm 34, born in 1988. Both of my parents were born in the 50s. One of them no longer with me. My mom's still here. And they was raised in the time when my father actually was raised. He went back and forth with his mom and dad when they separated. And my mom, she come from a big family as well, but her parents was together till one of them passed away. So they both came from two different homes, number one, and two different type of families. My mama had a two-parent home. You know, both parents worked. My daddy, he did. His parents were married. They ended up getting separated, and my, his mama was staying in the projects in the city where I'm from, and his daddy moved, and eventually he moved with his daddy, which is another story. But their parenting that was showed to them wasn't the best model, right? And in life, most people, not all, you got some people who, even though they didn't go through something, they got the wisdom for it because of God. Of course, God gave you got the wisdom on something that you never did before. It has to come from God, unless you didn't got educated on a particular thing that you haven't. You like say, for you got educated on a particular field, and you haven't started in that field yet, but you educated about it. So majority of the time, you get experience from what you've seen or what you've done. And so both of them had a kind of, and for my mom, even though she came up in a two-parent household, my grandfather drove trucks, so y'all know how truck driver lifestyles is. My grandmother, she was a CNA, or she was some kind of nurse, and she had all these children. She gave them everything that they needed. Um, it wasn't no probably a lot of love, and when I say by love, affection, telling your children how much you love them, hugging them, and these things matter. We need to do this with our children. We have to show love to our children. We have to show them that they appreciate it because sometimes they don't feel love. And that coming from a parent, a lot of times parents think, well, I'm feeding them, I'm clothing them, I'm giving them everything they need. That's love. And that is love. But being affectionate towards your children just teaches them how to be soft and affectionate towards others but it also teaches them that they're being loved, and it's a thing that I feel is essential to do with your children. But that's another subject, and that wasn't big in my mother's household. Of course, not in my father's household because he had a single mother with 6 kids, 5 boys, 1 girl. So definitely, I'm sure it wasn't a lot of super affection going on. But what I want to speak about that, and I'm just using my situation, and on this channel, this episode one of a new show I'm gonna be starting, and I'm gonna be completely transparent about everything. Because, like I said, my thing is to be solution based, solution oriented, and give people answers to some things that they dealing with they don't understand. Who you are as a child, whatever it is put into you as a child, is who you're going to be, right? The things that we may struggle with today, nine times out of ten, 9 times out of 10, come from our upbringing, good or bad. Some of it's good things, some of it's bad. But whoever we are as a person, it comes from the thing that was put into us as a child. Now, back then, in my mother and father days, it wasn't a lot going on. There was no internet. It really wasn't a lot going on. We kind of had we had a kind of the little racial thing going on, and they was, my mom was born in '57, my dad was born in '58, so the Jim Crow laws ended in 1964. So they kind of, it was kind of, it's something that they experienced maybe not from what they told me, but it's something that I'm sure they experienced just coming up in that particular time. But it wasn't so much as you had to. It wasn't a lot that you really had to really you could have did that back then. You could have left your kids to look. I gotta work. Your daddy gotta work. You need to make sure the house clean. Make sure you do your chores. Make sure you do this, and you didn't really have to supervise them. You still had to, because kids gonna be kids, and you youngsters gonna be youngsters. But you didn't have to supervise them as much as you have to supervise them today. But before I get to today, I want to get to my generation. Like I said, if you're my age limit, you're 90, or you're between, I'm gonna say from 1980. I'm gonna start at 1980 all the way to now. In other words, they give a 42-year-old window. Um, a lot of us was raised by parents like my mother and father, right? Who came up in a generation where it was do this, do that. Wasn't too much to protect them from. It wasn't no rap music around. Wasn't no internet and none of that. And so they used what they knew, and they brought it. Kids gonna do right from wrong, pick the right friends, just the little basic things you teach your children. And so what happened is that's what they passed on to a lot of us. And some of us, I hate to say it, especially in my community, we didn't even come up with a two-parent home. I was blessed enough to do that. But I'm just saying. And so the simpleton things that they was taught, they passed it on to us. But what was the bad thing about that was it was a whole nother generation. Things when we were being raised up in the world that was around and accessible to wasn't around for them. And so, you know, that wasn't effective. And you can say, and this is what I want to say, and I want to be very clear. Good parents don't raise bad kids. If your kids have turned into bad adults, it's something that you did wrong as a parent. And I know that might be hard to digest, but it is what it is. And I'm about to break all that down. Um, my parent, and I want to be clear when I say this, because I have amazing parents. My mom is still here. My father passed away in 2020. Um, my parents were great people. Great people. They were great people. They were Holy Ghost filled, sanctified people, but they wasn't good parents. And they wasn't good parents, not out of malice or evil or just not, but they were not good parents because they was using the model that they was raised on and passing it down to us, which wasn't effective because it was a whole nother time. So let me be clear when I say my mother and father wasn't good parents, because I have to be clear. I'm being transparent, and I need to break this down so it can find you. My father was, I'm not gonna say rich, but he was pretty wealthy. He was pretty decent. Him and he had a friend, and they had a civil rights, they had a civil rights organization, and they traveled and helped black families get loans for homes. He was a traveling evangelist, and also he worked at chemical plants. And majority of the time, he was working out of town for more money. So he wasn't around a lot, right? But whenever he came around, I'm not gonna say whenever he came around, like he just wasn't never around. I want to be clear. But like most of the time, he worked all week and he would come home on the weekends and things like that. Not the whole childhood, but most of my childhood. And so when he would come home, he would either take us somewhere, like all every time we was out of school, summertime, Christmas time, whatever time we was out of school, he was taking us around United States. He took us. We went to every probably major city. We probably went to probably like 30 or 40 states. We went everywhere. He gave us everything we wanted. Me and my brother, I had a brother that was 2 years under me, and I had an older sister that's 7 years older than me. Me and my brother, we was 2 years apart, so everything was pretty much competitive with us. We had everything we wanted. Like we lived like basically, I want to say like celebrity. Because celebrity kids, they don't get to see their parents a lot, but when they do get to see them, I'm sure they get showered with gifts, and that's what we did. We were with a stay-at-home mom, basically like a single mom, because my daddy was just a machine. He provided, but he wasn't really around to teach us certain lessons that a man needs to be around to teach his children. And I'm gonna get off into that. And so he wasn't around, and that ended up affecting me. Not so much as it affected my brother, but it did affect my brother as well. But it affected me more, and that led me to okay. I mean, let me slow down. Let me slow down. Let me take this one step at a time. And so my mother, she was one of those mothers that's, I mean, even to this day, all me and my siblings grown, and my mama will do whatever she has to do. She will literally sacrifice for us if she have to, even though we grown and don't need her for that at this point. She still would do it. She's the sweetest, always has been the sweetest mother ever. We didn't have chores. She cleaned our room. She made us snacks during the day. She was an amazing mother, right? The best I ever see, the best mother in the world. And I've met some great mothers. But until I meet somebody better than her, which is maybe I never have that opinion because I really don't know, but she the best. So I wanted to put those details out there because when I said that I was raised by good people with bad parents, I don't want people to take that and run with that. So I gave details of who my father was and who my mother was. So now let me get into why they had why they were good people but bad parents. All my mother did for us, I'm talking about, like I say, sacrifice, and it come down to it, she would still do that today. We didn't have chores. She did everything for us. That was being a bad parent. When you do everything for a child, at least especially when you got young men, they need to be doing something. If it's just taking the trash out, um, something they need to be doing is at least clean their own room. My mama didn't make us do none of that. She made our beds. She basically did everything for us. And to this day, even though me and my brother got other things going on, we don't like no labor. We don't want to do no work. Like I say, we got what we got going on. Um, my brother, he in the tech, and he got a lot of stuff going on. But I'm saying, like, labor and just doing hard work, like I feel like every man should be happy to do. We not with it, and that's because that's how we was raised. And like I say, I won't go too hard on my mom because if she was a single mother, that's one thing. But she had a man, she had a husband. That was my father's job to say, look, even though he wasn't gonna be home, look, you need to make sure they do something. If he would have told her that, she would have did it. Make sure they take out the trash. Make sure they do something. Don't have them just sitting around all day, all night, not doing anything. Another thing, um, I'm talking about my whole time, I probably never did homework but once or twice. I never did homework. When I would get home, I would get my snack and get on the game until it's bedtime. My mama should have been telling us, look, where's the homework? Before you do anything, let's get this homework done. But she didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna really say that that didn't affected us, but I'm just saying that's just something that she should have done as a mother. Her job was to nurture the children. Of course, she got an A+ in nurturing. Um, to teach the children, I think she get an A+ in teaching because she taught us a lot. She would do Bible study with us. Um, I think every day until we got a certain age, she would do like a Bible trivia with us. She was great. I want to put that out there. I'm not trying to. She was amazing. And the Bible say, train up a child in the way they should go, and they won't depart when they get older. They might stray away, but they won't depart because this is what you put into them. And so she put some great things. We did Bible trivia, but she just didn't make us do nothing. And like I say, I'm not gonna put that on her. So really, I can say she was a good parent. I wish you would have showed a little bit more affection, hugging and kissing us, which she did do. If we did something right, got a good report card or something like that, she would hug and kiss and praise us. But I just feel like a mother should just every day hug and kiss their children. And she didn't do that, but that's not something that was put into her, right? So let's go to my father and the thing that he did that was wrong. Once again, great man, but bad father. He would come home, right? And he admitted, I'm gonna get to that. He would come home and, like I say, shower with all these gifts, and wherever he was, he had been working. So he come home and he go chill with his wife and chill in his room, watch his news, and just decompress and relax for his time off because he got to go back on the road. And he would spend time with my mom, but he didn't really he didn't really have those father son conversations with me and my brother that I feel is essential for a father and son, especially if the father's in the son's life. These are essential. A son needs his father because if you don't have his father, especially, but I'm saying if you're not privy to having a man around, that's what I understand, and you gotta depend on God and that God to protect your children. But the father has to be around, and he has to govern the children. That way, when they go to school, when they hang with their friend, when they listen to rap music, when they watching these shows and doing whatever they doing, the loudest voice gonna always be the father. Doesn't matter what the teacher says, okay, what my daddy said. Doesn't matter what the rapper say, what my daddy said. But the problem is, a lot of times today and in my life, other voices was louder than my father's. And so, like I say, he gave us everything we want. I remember when I remember when my daddy used to whip. I used to rather my daddy whip me and my mom because my daddy would use one of those one size fits all braided belts and tell us to hold our hands out. And he did that for so long. I'm talking about it would be so funny because he would hit us and I would act like we would act like we were crying, and then we'd go laugh and get hurt. And it's just so crazy, like, but it's just the things that, like, and one I never forget the first night that I had a wet dream. I believe I was about 12, and I didn't know what this clear stuff was, coming out of my penis, and so I had to ask my mom, and that's a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to be there for that. But I'm gonna show you the main mistake that he made, the biggest mistake that he made. All of the money my daddy made, and eventually, he was getting his own businesses. He always kept his family in the hood. And as he got older, and I finally settled down, and I had committed crime and went to jail, and just eventually got my life together. He said that. He said, if I knew what I knew now, I would have never had my family staying in certain neighborhoods. I would have never allowed you to hang out with certain people. Because that's another thing that's important. I want to get on that. But I'm going to get on that later. Let me finish this point. My father was a bargain guy. This dude Like I said, he was a wealthy man. He wore Walmart shoes, and he shopped at Goodwill his entire life. That's all he knew because he was just a bargain guy. My mama said when they got married, she had never been to a dollar store until she met him. Just to add context to how cheap, my daddy was a quote unquote El Cheapo. That's just the kind of guy he was. He didn't believe in buying cars with car notes. He was a cheap guy. So he kept us in the hood because it was cheaper to stay in the hood than it was to stay in suburban neighborhood, better neighborhoods. But if you a single man, a bachelor, or a woman, and you're a bachelor, you stay wherever you want to stay. Once you begin to raise a family, you want to have your family in good areas because if you got your family in bad areas, this is why the black community is where it's at in most parts. Because most of the, not all, but 73% of black babies are being raised without a father. And so the mama most of the time end up having to go in Section 8, and Section 8 is never a good area. And when they stay in these Section 8 areas, what we expect to happen. You got crime right outside the door. The dope boys, and this is who the kids look up to. This is who the kids look up to. This is who your son want to be. This is who your daughters want to be with, right? So the area where when you begin to raise a family, you need to make sure you have a, the finances to put your family in a nice area because you're not going to see it. For example, if you raised in the suburb, you're not going to go to the hood to hang out unless you move to the suburb. You grew up in the hood and you end up moving to a suburb. You might go every now and then to hang out with your old friends. But nobody that's from the suburb just go hang in the hood because they know what's in the hood. And the suburb is the good life. So why would I want to leave the good life to go hang in the hood? But when you're in the hood where everybody either smoking or dealing, you tend to get involved with that. Now, I want to be clear. My little brother never got involved in none of that. He stayed on the force, what we call it in the hood. Staying on the force means you don't get involved with none of the street life or none of those activities. But my older sister did, and so did I. Um, and it cost us a lot. It cost us time. It cost us money. It cost the family time and money, heartache and pain. Because when you in these areas, first of all my friends came from single parent households. They people wasn't doing good. We doing good. We going travel, going all over the world. But because my daddy was cheap, he stayed in these hood areas where all kind of stuff going on. People breaking into your house. I remember one particular time, my daddy had a bank account back then. Every bank wasn't federally funded, and so if that bank was to get robbed while your money was there, you would just be assed out. And that happened to my father. And so after that, he stopped messing with banks. So he would keep all his money at home. And so one day, one day we went out of town and came back, and the house had been broken into, and all his money was gone. And at that particular time, my mama had a little sweet shop she was running in the hood, like frozen cubs, pecan can and stuff like that. Yeah, we lived off the money she made off of that because somebody broke in our house one time. A car got stolen. I mean, a van. I mean, I wanted to say a vehicle, but a van. My daddy had one of those old vans that they had the big old tube TV in it. My daddy had one of them. That got stolen while we was on vacation. It always was things like that happening. These are the things that happened in the hood, and 9 times out of 10 it was people that we knew we was gonna be gone. You know what I'm saying? And this are the things that you have to deal with within the hood. Not to mention, like I say, me, my sister getting caught up with the wrong people, hanging with the wrong friends. My brother hung with these people too. But once he got to a certain age, he was always pretty much a critical thinker. And once he got to a certain age, he understood that because he was very wise beyond his years at a young age. And so once he got to a certain age, he understood like these type of people are headed to a certain place, and I don't want to go there. And so he separated himself from them, and in some situations from me. And I followed them, and I ended up going to the place that they was already destined for out of the womb. Not no fault of their own, but because their parents made bad decisions, and not giving them a father or whatever the situation was, they was already destined. A lot of children, like I say today, is destined. They come out the womb and is already their life is already set to fail unless God have mercy on them because they didn't come with a father. And people can say, "Oh, well, I know this woman who raised a kid." Women, women cannot raise children on their own. And when I say stuff like that, I want to put a disclaimer out here. I'm speaking on the rule, not the exception. I know somebody who he was the child because I got a matter of fact, I got an aunt who raised a son and a daughter. And it wasn't a perfect thing, but it was as perfect as it can go. So I know it can happen, but it's gonna be hard because most women, women wasn't put here to lead families. That's not their calling on earth. Their calling is to be the nurturer. So when they got to play two roles, it's automatically gonna come into it's gonna come into it's not gonna come out right because that's not what they put here for, right? A man is very essential to his family, and so this is why I said my father was bad because he could have had us in a better neighborhood. Maybe we wouldn't have got caught up in certain things that we got caught up in. Matter of fact, I know we wouldn't because we wouldn't have knew none of these type of people. The people that we have been, that we'd have been staying around his friends, because his friends are always staying in nice areas in the city where I'm from. We'd have been staying, which was pretty much mostly white people. We'd have been staying around more positive people. We probably our lives probably all would have went in a completely different direction. But I don't regret anything. I thank God for the lessons. I thank God for His grace, and I thank God that I'm here today. But I just want to say that sometimes you can be a good person but a bad parent, and when being a bad parent comes from you wasn't taught how to be a parent from what you seen, or you rushed into a situation before it was time, and you had to learn as you go. Because once a child here, there's no such thing as hold up. There's no such thing as that. And so that moves me into today. Now, today's children, I don't have any children at the moment. Um, but today is even worse. Today it's even worse. You have to, and God forbid you bring children in this world without a father in this generation. But just hypothetically speaking, you do. Hopefully you got a prayer life for God to help you. Pray to God every day and ask God to help you and give you the wisdom to raise that child on your own until God sends you a husband that's gonna love that child as much as he loves you. But these days, the schools, the cartoons, is trying to turn our children gay. They trying to teach our children if they black, they victims. Teaching our children to hate police. And so if we not at home teaching our children that is wrong to hate police. If you're black, you can be anything in this world. Your skin color has nothing to do with who you are. If you work hard, you can achieve anything you want in this world. If somebody else don't give you the opportunity, you educate yourself enough until you can create your own opportunity. Love everybody, whether they gay or not gay. But it's wrong to be homosexual. Little boys are not supposed to be with little boys, and little girls are not supposed to be with little girls. And if you're not constantly teaching this to your children, and you're not spending time with your children, and you let your children be quote unquote raised by the game, raised by the phone, raised by the TV shows, raised by NBA YoungBoy, raised by the teachers, you're gonna have a problem. This is why we see the thing that we see going on in the world, and then the parents get on TV and say, "Well, I didn't never know." Well, of course you didn't know because you didn't spend no time with them. And if you did spend time with them, it was an hour, 2 hours. Why they at school for 6 hours? They get off school, they on the video game and the phone for the rest of the time that they go to bed. That's who raised them. You just feed them and clothing them and maintain them. But the phone, NBA young boy, and the teachers is raising them. And that's a problem. Because when decisions is being made in their life, they need to hear their parents' voice in their head. And that parents' voice needs to be louder than their friends. Their parents' voice needs to be louder than the teachers telling them that LGBTQ and being gender fluid is okay. Your voice needs to be louder than NBA YoungBoy. Your voice needs to be louder than the TV show. Your voice needs to be louder in their head than anything that they listen to be able to know if it's right or wrong because mama and daddy said something. That's how I know it's wrong. Because mama and daddy said so. I don't care if NBA young boy says it's cool to pack guns and shoot people. I was raised that it's not right to kill nobody because the Bible says thou shalt not kill. And if you're not being raised in a home that people believe in God, it's just morally wrong to take somebody else's life. I don't care if Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and all these female rappers say it's okay to have babies out of wedlock, which by the way, they don't do these things, most of them. But I don't care if they tell you to have sex with multiple men for money and do all this type of stuff that they telling you. The voice need to be louder in their head from their mom and daddy that says you don't mess with more than one boy or more than one girl at a time, and you don't have sex before you marry. And if that's not something that you believe in, you need to be having sex protected. You need to be having protected sex. You need to put this in your. You don't. They don't need to be having sex. But if they get to a certain age, we all know we was all young before. We was all 15 and 16 before. If they get to a certain age where they all doing it and you feel it, that you know that they doing it or they going to do it, make sure you preach to them to protect themselves not only from reproducing a child, but also from diseases. Because diseases are real. There's so many of them out there, they haven't even discovered them all. It's not just about AIDS no more, syphilis, and certain it's STDs that haven't even been named yet, and because they haven't been all the way discovered for the people to give them a name and give a diagnosis to cure if they can be cured. And so your voice got to be loud when your kid with his friend and they trying to peer pressure him into doing something. The loudest voice in his head needs to be you telling him, "This is not. My parents told me this is not the right thing to do, and if I do something like this, I'm gonna be on my own." And if I don't be on my own, they're gonna support me. This is just not a road that I want to take. We have to teach our children these things. We have to be on our children. We cannot be a friend. We cannot be a friend. We have to be their parent because whatever we allow to be fed to them in their youth is seeds. Whatever we teach them while they're young is seed that's being planted, and these seeds will blossom. This is why you see today all of a sudden, because this wasn't going on, we know homosexuality been around since the world been around. But we know they didn't have this homosexuality being forced on children in schools. This wasn't like this back then. We understood that certain things was for adults and certain things was for children back then. But now it's no holds barred. And the reason why I like that is because they trying to plant a seed while they children. See, they know if they can get them while they're young and innocent, those seeds gonna blossom. They want them to understand. Listen, young black boy, you are oppressed by the white man. Listen, little white boy, you're evil with the CRT, the critical race theory, which is from the enemy, the devil, and needs to be cast into the bottom of hell. Just like the LGBT. You can be whatever you want to be, little boy. No, God created you one way. He created two genders. If you got a penis, you're a boy. If you got a slit, you're a girl. And it's just that simple. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it, and nobody can change that. I don't care if the doctor can cut a body part out. He can't change what you created. He can't change something that he didn't create. God created you inside the womb. And so these things got to be taught at a young age. When they young, they don't understand it. Teach them, teach them, teach them, teach them until they understand. I was watching a video, and this man, he's a realtor, and he was telling he made his son, and his son, I want to say the little boy couldn't have been no more than 9 or 10, and the little boy was reciting everything about realtor when his daddy said it on cue. He would ask him a question, he would answer. And you know why that little boy that good at 10 years old? Because he trained him. Train a child up in the way he should go. This is not just about Bible. This is about life. Whatever you train your child up into way, this is gonna stick with him for life, whether it's good or bad. Once again, if you're my age, whatever you're dealing with in your life, if you don't like to work, if you got drug habit, whatever you're dealing with, you got depression, whatever you're dealing with, it's because of a seed. If you promiscuous, a lot of women promiscuous because they got molested at a young age. A seed of sex was planted in them before when they were innocent. Whatever is planted into you when you're innocent, that's who you're gonna be until. And if it's something that's wrong, that's who you're gonna be until you get somebody to lay hands and pray on you and cast those demons out. And you still gonna have to fight them, but you will have the armor and the strength to fight them versus when you didn't have the power and the armor of God, right? And so we have to be careful when we teach our kids, when we let them watch. And I've been around people, like I said, I don't have kids, but I've dated multiple women and children. And sometimes they will tell me that I'm overreacting. But I understand. And most people, they got their history. And that's another thing about women. This is why I always say women shouldn't be raising children. Because most of the time, women, they have their head in the cloud and they just, well, and they don't see stuff for what it really is. And I would be around these women, and a lot of them would be upset because they wouldn't always be upset, but they would be like, "You just doing too much, too complicated." But I understand the damage that certain things can do to a child, especially a young man. And a lot of these women today, they baby their boys, and the world don't have no mercy on a man. Women and children get a pass, but not on men, especially men of color in certain situations. And a lot of times it might not be a fault, but because the stuff that you see in America, like 13% of America's population is black, but we account for 50% of all crime. And so black men get a bad rap. So if anybody, no man gets any mercy, but especially black. And like I say, in certain situations. And you're not to use that as a victim. You don't take that as a victim. You don't say, okay, because see that's something I wouldn't even, and I'm gonna say another. I don't even believe in teaching your children about slavery. That's another thing I want to bring my mom in. She would have us watching these groups, films, and that's not good to teach your children. Your children don't need to know nothing about slavery. For what? Slavery is over. We had a black president. Black people can do anything in this world that white people can do, vice versa. Chinese, everybody, especially in America. I don't know about these other countries, but in America, whoever you, don't matter what color you is, how tall you is, or nothing, you can be as great as you want to be and do whatever you want to do in life if you work hard. I always use the musket bowls analogy, right? Whenever, because like I say, as black people, as a black man, we do have certain challenges in the world that other people don't have, right? And I always like to use the musket bowls analogy. And what I mean by that is musket bowls was the shortest NBA player ever played. He was 5'3". And at the age when he realized he was 5'3", and I think he stopped growing when he was 21 or whatever age he stopped growing, 18, 21. At that age, he understood that, listen, I'm not going to be tall. And if you want to play in the NBA, you have to be tall. Everybody know that. But I'm not going to be tall. And he could have took that and said, you know what? Hey, I'm going to have to do something else. Because basketball definitely ain't going to be for me because I'm 5'3". But you know what he did? He worked hard. He worked hard. He worked hard. And not only did he get in the NBA, he ended up in a Hall of Fame. He ended up being a household name, playing with the big boy because he understood at a young age, I'm going to be short, but I got a dream and I'm going to reach that dream. I'm going to accomplish that goal. And he did it and excelled, not to mention Spud Webb. But I just like to use that analogy to show that hard work, no matter who you is, what size you is, what color you is, what race or gender you is, you can do and do whatever you set out to do. You just got to work on. And also, I want to speak on this as to get off of that, to switch lanes on how my parent was good and bad, right? But I also want to say this too. My dad admitted this. He said, if I knew what I knew now, I would have never let you hang with so and so and so. I'm not gonna say these people's names because these people are The one that's still alive is people I love. I never should have been hanging with them because my life and their life get messed coming up, and they were able to influence me, not really influence me, but when you have friends, it's not about the leader and the follow. Like, they'll be like, I teach my kids to be a follower. It's not about that. It's not about that. You have to, as a parent, protect your children at all costs. At all costs. Till they 18, when they 18, they can do whatever they want to do. They can do whatever they want to do. But until they 18, your job is to protect them at all costs. And so my dad said, if I would have knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have allowed you to hang with certain people. So that's what I want to get in now. Because I was talking to a young lady, a client of mine, and she was speaking to me about she got a 16-year-old daughter, I think, and a 15-year-old daughter. And one of the 16-year-old daughter wanted to go somewhere with a particular friend. And the first thing she said was, I don't really trust that friend. So first of all, I want to address that. Like I told her, I say, for one, I don't know why, but you know why you don't trust that your daughter with that chick, or not trust her with that chick, trust doing this particular thing with that chick. I think they was going for a sleepover. So you have a reason as a parent. I don't know the reason, but you do. Why you said that you didn't trust your daughter to be with that individual without your supervision, right? But then you said I didn't want to be too hard on her, so I went on ahead and broke. And I told her, I said, listen, first of all, she's 16. There's no such thing as be too hard on her. She in your house. Whatever happened with her at 16, you're going to be liable for it. Whatever it is, you're going to be liable, right? And like I told her, and I told this before, I guarantee you, if they told parents, look, if your child get in any situation, you got to do time for it. I guarantee your parents would be on that, right? But so I told her, I say, at that age, you should have followed your first mind or stuck with your guns. But that's another reason. I'm glad I brought it up. That's another reason why men are very important. But see, the man, he's sticking to his gun. It's the woman. And I know this for the sake of my household. It was time when my daddy would say certain things and we would go run to my mama and she would go talk him out of it or whatever. Or if he wasn't home, she would kind of go again, well, you can do this. And women would do that. Not out of malice, not out of being mean. Because I know for sure my mama wasn't doing it like that. She was doing it to be sweet. Because that's what women do. They sweet. But sometimes that sweetness can turn somebody bad, and not bad in a bad way, like hurt or but it's just not good because the whole saying is, what name one thing that's small and then it's good again? Nothing, right? Nothing that's small is can be good again. So once you spoil somebody, they spoil them, right? And so anyway, so I told her, I was like, listen, whatever you had, for whatever reason that you don't trust your daughter with that little girl, and you said no first, you should have stuck to your gun. Now everything went right. But I'm just saying, before, as long as the children is under your roof, under 18, yes, you pick their friends. That's why you're the adult. That's why you're the parent. Especially if you could see, because see this generation. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though this generation more advanced than us, the things that they doing, we did it. We did it. Like I see some of my homegirls sometimes, and they my age. They 34, and they got kids that's 16 and 17. That was the ages that me and them met. And we know the games that they used to play. Go to the cool hall, because all friends got what they call the cool friend house. And that's the house where the mama probably work a double. Single parent household, mama work a double. They got the house to themselves. And we know the game that they used to play. Oh, look, you going to so and so house this weekend? We gonna get a Dolphin in there and come pick you up. We was doing this type of stuff at 15 and 16, 14. And so I be telling the women, like, remember the game we used to play? And it's a whole different era now. We didn't have social media. We didn't have Lyft. These kids can get a Lyft now. It's serious out here. But like I said, man, so and before they turn 18, I don't care if they 17, got a little job and a car and everything. But until you 18 and you an adult and you go answer for your own stuff, You my rules, my way. Now, when I said I ain't gonna be following you around. You can have if you hang with somebody at school that I didn't told you about hanging with, that's fine. But they not don't bring them around to my house, right? And the next thing, you don't have to worry about that because if you teach your children the right things from a young age, they not even gonna want to hang with certain people. They gonna avoid certain people, right? And so until they 18, you need to treat their friends. And I know that may sound hard. People might not agree with that, but that's the fact. Because anything happens to them before they turn 18, they're gonna be knocking on your door, calling your phone, and possibly you gonna be coming out your pocket. Teach your children responsibility as well. When they get those little first jobs, 15, 14, every paycheck demands something from them. If it's just $20, not for them to pay to stay with you, because I don't believe in parenting children pay. I mean, I wouldn't do that, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have kids. But I'm saying that's I can't tell nobody what to do. But if they got a little job and they 15 years old, demand something from them every paycheck. If it's just $20. And what you do with that money is you save it. And you save it and this what they do. I'm gonna give you what my plan when I have children. This is what I'm gonna do. When I have children, they get their first job. I'm gonna tell them whatever they give me, I'm a match. So if they give me, but they got to give me something. It got to be at least $20. You can give me whatever you want, but it got to be at least $20 every paycheck. And when you give me that $20, I'm a match. So if you give me 20, I'm a match at 20. And I want them to keep that somewhere, count it up, and say for instance something happened the way they lose their job or say for instance they want to save up for a car or big purchase and they just don't really have good management skill. Which I'm going to be teaching them this. You know, no kid is born with good management. You got to teach them that about money. Teach them that money is a tool, right? Money is not something that you just blow. It's a tool, right? And so, say for instance something happened and they need or something that come up at school and they look, say say daddy, can I get it? Of course, if they still a kid, I'm gonna give it to them. You know, 9 times 10, especially they're a good kid. They're a good kid. Don't give me no trouble. They get good grades. I probably take care of it themselves. But they be like, Dad, they got the new Jordan that came out. Like I said, I'm probably gonna try to get it for them. But just say when they want to do it on their own. I want to go to the mall today with my friends, and I might want to buy me some J's. They $200. I want to give me a jacket to match. Okay, that 500 that you had saved, let's go get that. Let's go use that 500 that you had saved, right? And or for something bigger, maybe a car. They save it for 3 years, and 9 times they want their first car. Hey, you know you got that $5,000 to go drop you a down payment on you something, whatever you want, and you got a job to keep up the car notes. But teach them to save. Teach them to save, or they lose their job for whatever reason. They might have a altercation with a boss, or whatever the situation may be, and they end up losing their job, and now they don't have no money. They don't know what to do. Hey, you remember that money you've been saving? Guess how much money you got saved? Because you've been giving me you've been giving me $50 every paycheck, and now and plus every 50 you gave me, I matched it, and so now you've been doing that for 2 years, so you got $6,000 saved. So here you $6,000, and it teaches them to save money for reasons that for a lot of different reasons. You know, save money. If you save money, it'll save you. If you save money, you can if you save money and not spend on every little thing you want, you can save money and collect and get that big major thing you want. And you know, you just gotta teach your children these things young. I'm talking about young, even when they come from even while they children, they little kids, teach them that with candy or give them $1 and tell them, look, if you hold that dollar till the end of the week, I'm gonna give you $5. Teach your children things young because the seed that you plant in them young is going to blossom into something. Never have your children. It's okay if you go. First of all, I believe that a child shouldn't have a cellular device until he's at least 16. And even then, he should have a time on it, right? Teach your children hard work. I don't care how wealthy you is, how rich you is, and you might have your own business. Your children might not never have to work for nobody. Still, teach your children hard work. Teach your children how to earn a dollar. Don't let them sitting around all day. Change the trash. Make your bed every day. Clean your room. These things need to be taught to the children while they're young, because anything that's planting them young is going to blossom. You are who you are at 10 years old. By the time you reach 10 years old, I think they say it's earlier than that, but by the time you're 10 years old, you are who you are. Now, of course, you're going to go through life and, heartbreaks and certain, trials and tribulations going way around you. But who you are as a person, your personality is going to be set around 10 years old. And the things that have been planted in you is going to blossom. Like I say, this is why the schools and the cartoons and everything is pushing this LGBT agenda young now, because they trying to get the kid young to understand that, hey, it's okay, which it is not. And to bring this into conclusion and to bring this into a close, don't parent until you're ready. I don't support abortion, so that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that wait till you settle down, and don't, please wait till you marry, because a lot of we, and this is another message for another day, but there's too many women giving men the ultimate honor without him giving them the ultimate honor. The ultimate honor that a woman can give a man is his as a child, and the ultimate honor a man can give a woman is his last name. Too many women giving men the ultimate honor without him giving her the ultimate honor. First, marry before you carry. Number two, protect your children, especially like I said, in this day and age. I'm talking about protect your children at all costs. Teach them right from wrong in everything. And if you're a Christian, teach them the Bible at a young age. Bible trivia, it's biblical cartoons, it's children Bible. Teach them these things every day. Make sure they pray every day. Start them young with the Our Father prayer. Teach them these things young. And so when the things of the world, they friends, the teachers, the rappers, the television shows, and all those things, they seeing and hearing these things in their head, your voice is going to always be the loudest voice, because the loudest voice is going to win. And protect your children as much as possible. Send them to the right schools. Have them living in the right neighborhoods. Soften the blow. If I got them living in the right neighborhood, I don't really have to worry about them hanging with the kids who sell drugs, rob, and pack guns and sell rocks at 10, 11 years old. Right? And so, to end this, like I said, man, just train up a child in the way he should go, and he won't depart. Might stray, but he'll come back to the road. And this is episode 1, and I thank y'all for taking time out to watch. But parenting is very, very important, and the people that we bring in the world today, and our children are the future. So we don't put nothing in them, and we let them be young. This is why we see the things that we see, and it just breaks my heart. You see these little dudes, and they real young, man, and they in the streets, and they looking up to the dope dealer, and they running errands for the dope dealer at 10, 11 years old, and they just can't wait to get they shot. And the little girls who twerking at 11, it breaks my heart, because some of them are already too far gone, and that's sad at a young age. But we keep them in. I'm gonna keep them in prayer. I ask that my listeners keep them in prayer, and we gonna make it all right, especially in my community, in all community, in America. God first, America second, skin color third, or whatever you want to put third. But for me, it's God first. I'm a man of God first. I'm an American second. My family third, and skin color. I love being black. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. But we gotta stop putting our race above God, above being an American and all other stuff. Because America is the greatest country on this side of heaven. And that's the same thing we got to teach our children. We got to teach our children American values. For my black people, stop teaching our children that they're victims. Stop teaching our children that the police is evil. Stop teaching our children that white people is racist. They got racist white people, racist black people, racist. They got racist hatred, hateful people of all races. But like I said, to end this live, because I want to be a little under an hour. I'm at 55 minutes right now. I thank y'all for watching this episode 1. I'm gonna be speaking about a lot of different things. I'm gonna be speaking about everything: sports, entertainment, things that's going on in the world. And as you read in my bio, just everything I'm gonna be speaking on, and how can you use it to fix your life. This is a solution-based, solution-oriented channel that I'm trying to give people to understanding, because like the word of the Lord said, all that I get an understanding. And that's it, man. Just raise your children up, start them young, because whatever you put in them young, and protect them. I put them in the right schools. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can afford it. Put your children in private school. I wouldn't even have my children going to public school. Now, you can't afford a private school, I understand, but if you can, don't even have your children going to a public school. Because like I say, we gotta soften the blow. Monitor what they watching on TV. Monitor what they on their cell phones doing. You're not their friend. You're their parent. Because guess what? When they get old and certain things don't go right, the first thing they're gonna say, well, you didn't know. You ain't gonna tell me that I did everything. Now, if you make decisions that were wrong after 18, I spent 18 years of my life dedicated to you and teaching you the right thing, putting you in the right home, putting you in the right school, putting you in the right neighborhood. So whatever you do after that, it's not on me. And you know it ain't on me. I don't care what people say, as a child. And so, that's all I gotta say on that. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all be blessed. Have a blessed one.